Hello there, I'm Daniel. I am making tutorials for beginners by a beginner. I've already made one, basic light and shading. It went down pretty well. I enjoyed doing it, so I thought I'd make another one where I would talk to you about layers. We love layers. Layers are one of the most important things for a digital artist, in my opinion. They help so much with efficiency and just with everything. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. We'll go ahead and jump right in like we did with my other one. Why not? Why waste the time? Let's just go ahead and get started. So let's just talk about the basic function of a layer. Okay, now I want you to imagine layers on your software. Imagine them as like a cake, right? A really nice, beautiful wedding cake, for example. The first layer, the bottom layer, would probably be like a sponge, right? Now, on top of that, you might put a layer of jam, for example. Imagine that as your second layer over the first one, right? Now you can change that jam, right? You could scrape that jam off, you could eat it off, you could do whatever you want with the jam, and the sponge, unless you're really hungry, would remain intact. Okay, that is pretty much what the layers do on your software. Okay, the first layer, so for example, I started this sketch just now, of course, of the bear. I figured the bear would be great to go back to because that seems to be what we're sticking with here. So the first layer that I've got over here, again, I'm using Medibang, which is a great software. I'd recommend it. If that's not what you're using, fine. But Medibang is also a great one. It's free, so it's great for beginners if you don't want to fork out for expensive software. If it's not something you'll enjoy, try it out with Medibang and follow me along. If not, almost every software in existence has layers, apart from maybe Paint. Microsoft Paint. Everything else should have layers, so it should transfer again to any software that you are using. The first layer, anyway, I digress. The first layer I'm using for my sketch, okay? So let's just finish this off real quick. We'll draw his little ears on here. His little cute ears. Again, this is just for the layer function, so I won't worry about what pen I'm using or anything. Just worry about layer function. Super quick, this isn't going to be great. Just to teach you about how layers work. Oh dear. These big somber eyes Mr. Bear has. There we go. Little nose here. And his little mouth. He's often sad, is Mr. Bear. Oh dear. Like I said, this isn't going to be great. We are just practicing, people. We're just practicing. So imagine this is our first layer. Voila. Lovely. Let's make him happy. Let's make him a happy bear. Why not? So this first layer for your sketch can be as messy as you want. Doesn't matter. And I'll show you for why in a second. The beauty of layers, ladies and gentlemen. So layer one. Let's just call that. Let's just say that's finished. See, the perfectionist is coming out of me now like, sketch has to be perfect. It doesn't. So first layer, done. Over here, we're going to click on new layer. Now, again, your software should have a new layer option somewhere on it, but make a new layer. It's called layer 2. Now, we can make as many layers as we want. Imagine a 6-foot high wedding cake. It can be as high and as detailed as you want. Okay, let's just, for argument's sake, let's make, I don't know, 4 layers, and we're going to rename them. I always advise you name your layers just to keep track of what you're doing. With loads of layers, it can get very confusing. So we'll make layer 1 sketch, nice and easy. Layer 2 will make line art. Layer 3 will say base color. And layer 4 will say shading. Okay, 4 layers, simple layers. We won't go into too much detail. Like I said, just a beginner tutorial. We can go into more depth later on. This is just to get you started, okay? So we've just done our sketch. Okay, we've made 4 layers. On top of that, now the sketch, we can, for each layer, you can change the opacity, which is how visible each layer is. So to draw over our sketch, we're going to make it a 50% opacity. Up here, there's the opacity bar. Again, on your software, there should be an option to change that opacity. On the line art, we're going to change our pen to a more thick, visible pen, just size 20, and we're going to draw over our sketch again. This is not going to be perfect, just to show you the function of your layers. Draw over this. Lovely jubbly. we can always I'll probably make another tutorial on sketching and line art a bit later on, just to make this a bit better, because it pains me how rushed and awful Mr. Bear is right now. Oh dear. Oh dear. So there we go, drawing over our faint sketch like so. Lovely, lovely. Don't touch it, Daniel, that will do. Okay, so we've done our line art. So now we don't need our sketch, right? So we've finished the line art. We don't need what's underneath the line art, so we want to get rid of it. Now that's the beauty of layers. Because it's on the layer underneath our line art, we can get rid of the sketch without affecting the stuff that we've done on the layer above it. Okay, so just select your eraser. Make sure you're on the layer sketch that you've done. Select that layer, and then erase it, and see how we can go over that, erase that sketch without touching our line art. Do not judge me for my terrible line art. That is terrible. Look, this is for educational purposes, okay? So don't judge my line art. As you can see, we've gotten rid of the sketch without touching the layer above it. That is the purpose and the beauty of layers, okay? That is the basis of layers. It's amazing. Technology is fantastic, perfect for digital paint. So we've done that, we've done our line art. Now we want to add some colour. So we've got our base colour thing there that we made earlier on the third layer up. So we've done the sponge and we've done the jam. Now we're just gonna add, what we're gonna add, it's not icing, what would it be? Let's add another layer of sponge. We've done sponge, jam, sponge, why not? So add your base colour. I'm just using the fill thing here to add my base colours in. What colour is he? He's blue. He's always blue. Blue's my favourite colour, if you didn't already guess. Fill in that base colour. Et voila, Mr. Bear is blue. And that's our base colour, right? Now, this is another good point. We don't want the base colour to be above the line art, because colour should be underneath your line art. It's the layer below, really. So rather than stacking up, we're kind of going to switch things around. We're putting the sponge under the jam, which is a bit weird, but you can move layers around. So you can select the base colour, put it underneath your line art. Simple as that. You can drag and drop. Easy peasy. You want your line art to be on top, so you can move the shading underneath with your line art. Now this is also a good point, so let's go ahead and start some shading just for argument's sake. Darker shade of blue. If you watched my earlier video, you'll see darker shade of blue, watercolor, nice big pen, 400. Now watch, if I don't do anything to that layer and I just start coloring, you see how I'm going outside of my lines here with my shading. You can do this as well. You don't have to do any technicalities right off the bat. We can do this now. As you can see, I'm shading and it's going all over the place, all outside my lines, all over. Not particularly how we want it to be, but it'll do for now for educational purposes. So we've got our shading here. Now layers have this beautiful tool called clipping. Now clipping is when it essentially does what it says on the tin. It clips everything outside of the layer that it's above and brings it inside. So if you can see, obviously our shading is above our base colour right now. So if we clip it, we're clipping it to our base colour. And look at that, everything that was outside of the lines disappears. It clips it away. So we've got our base colour underneath our shading's on top of our base colour, hence why it's called a base colour. Clip it, and anything that you try and draw outside of that base colour will not draw. It'll only draw what is on that layer beneath it, as you can see there, which is amazing for shading. It helps so much, saves you a lot of time. So now if we wanted to go on our next layer of shading, a darker shade of blue, we can colour that without worrying about going outside of our lines. How amazing is that? Very handy, very helpful, saves you a bucket load of time. Again, if you want to be really precise and stuff, you don't have to do that, but I think you'd be silly not to. Like I said, saves you an awful lot of time. Look at me, I can't help it. I need to make it pretty. I will make this terrible line art good. Oh dear. So there you go, I hope that makes sense. We've got our layers of our base colour layer, we've put a shading layer on top, and we've clipped it to our base colour, so nothing can be drawn outside of that layer, if that makes sense. Just yet another beautiful feature of layers. So there you go. I mean, obviously, again, do not judge the line art, please. I mean, it's looking quite nice, actually. I quite enjoy it now. Oh dear. But as you can see, layers are a beautiful, beautiful function that honestly save you so much time as an artist. So much hassle, so much time saved by doing that. Again, with light, you can make another layer if you really want over the top of that. So we'll make another layer, clip it on, and we'll do our light on that layer. So because we've clipped it, it can't go outside of our line. So again, we can literally just colour it on. And look at that. It saves you so much time and effort. So much time and effort. It really is quite amazing. If you want, make it add. Ooh, it glows. See, there's so many things you can do with layers. They are absolutely amazing. We love layers. And all of a sudden we have a lovely glowing bear, all due to our layers. Now again, that is such a basic rundown. All I'm doing is explaining the very basic functions of layers. The fact that you can build them up like a cake, you can move them around, you can change how visible they are, you can clip them, which I think is a very important thing to start off with, is clipping to colour your pieces. Again, I can go into so much more detail. Layers can do so many things. There's all these different effects that you can do. There's so much. But for now, as a base, we'll just stick with that. I think that's enough for a beginner to go away with and practice. If you want to use my bear, as always, go ahead and use him. I'll post a video with a picture of him if you like, so you can use it if you want to practice your sketching and your deleting and your changing opacity and all that kind of stuff. I just think this is a great way to start. Have a little go. Let me know what you think. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for this one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next one, I guess. Let me know what you want to learn. I'll teach you. Bye.